What's up, guys? It's the Lowdown. Jeremy Conn here with Pickdawgz, pickdawgz.com. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button. It helps us out, and you get notified every single time I post a video here. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying this. Happy Father's Day, first off. I got two boys, 22 and 23. They're the bane of my existence, and I love them to death. One, my younger son plays professional paintball. I can't believe that's actually a thing. And I think he's going to Paris later this year. Went up to Atlantic City to watch him play. My younger son works at a sports book in D.C. Yeah, so I've raised him right? Anyway, but yeah, it's been, for dads out there, I was telling somebody else, and some of you guys may understand it if you got little ones right now. I miss those days of, going out at a baseball tournament all day and coming home sunburned and bitching about how miserable that day was. I'd do anything to get one of those days back. But yeah, it's something. It's a game changer, man. So hopefully you guys are having a great Father's Day. And as I'm doing this podcast, you're going to hear me tell a bunch of stories. I like to, riff a little bit and have some fun. It is kind of cool just to kind of, go back and look at things. My oldest son, he went to play Division III college basketball and COVID hit. He was a really good basketball player. He was just short and small, but he could play left-handed. And my younger son was playing too. I don't know that he had the same, to be fair, ceiling as my older son. And I don't know that he was as into it. I think he liked basketball, not loved it. But he lost his senior year because of COVID. And my older son was invited to a city versus county all-star game here in Baltimore. And that was going to be his chance to showcase himself against some Division I kids. And just didn't work out. Like COVID canceled all that. He went off to school, got homesick. He had a shoulder surgery. So anyway, I'm rambling here, but it is kind of interesting where life takes you and all the things that happen. And my kids grew up way too fast. So I guess all I'm saying is enjoy it. Enjoy that ride, the fun times, the weird times. God, I could tell you so many different stories. But I want to talk a little bit about obviously the games and what's going on today. And the more and more I watch these videos, I notice my ass head right here, my butt forehead that I have, where I can basically blow my nose and wipe my ass at the same time. It's gotten worse over the years, and more and more I look at it, that scowl starts going. What are you going to do? A little bit about what's been going on with the site. So my weather play of the day started off undefeated. We've been rolling, hitting those. My 3-game packages have won back-to-back days. So hopefully you guys start seeing my name higher and higher on that leaderboard. That's what we're working for. But I do love talking about this stuff, and you guys have seen I've tried to interact with some of you guys in the comments. Somebody posted the other day about the Rangers Stadium being a dome, and it's a retractable roof. We're going to talk about another team that has a retractable roof today, and if they should be open, what it does. I know obviously I can't make the decision for them, but what I had looked up and posted in that message, if you didn't see it, was a lot of these teams open the dome if it's between 65 and 80 degrees, if they're going to have a nice day. Some teams won't open it if it gets really hot. Obviously, it'll be closed if it's going to rain. But they have to make that decision, I think, 45 minutes to an hour before the game. So you should know whether it's open or not. But I have to go with what I have in doing this podcast. And as I've said before, I do this earlier than a lot of the other guys just because of the way my schedule works. So I put in all my work early and then just follow it up the next day. So when I'm posting my picks, I have all the information ready, everything ready to go. So hopefully we continue this thing on. So as always, I'm going to talk about 4 games. You'll hear me kind of talk about the weather a lot. As I've mentioned before, I'm big on weather. That's why I have my weather play of the day, and you see me posting. If you've bought any of my picks or looked at them, I do a ton, and I mean a ton of totals in baseball season. It's my favorite thing to bet. So, all right, let's dive into it. Let's talk about some of these games. And as I said, you're going to be annoyed with me flipping the glasses up and down. But the fact of the matter is, as you get older, everything's falling apart on me. I don't know that anything that really works anymore. I got a bad back, a bad neck, bad feet. I got to have throat surgery in August where they're going to shave down the inside of my throat. Yeah, sounds like a blast because I have severe sleep apnea and I tried the CPAP, did all that stuff, and nothing was really working for me. So went through a couple of sleep studies and my throat closes from side to side instead of soft palate to tongue. They said it affects 10 to 15% of people that have sleep apnea. So this is a surgery they think is necessary. I'm going to have the worst sore throat for 2 to 3 weeks, and I handle pain pretty well. I am the absolute biggest baby when it comes to sore throat, so can't wait to see my wife, getting me all my Rita's Italian ice and ice cream because I'm on a liquid diet for 2 weeks. I'll lose about 15 to 20 pounds, and then I'll find it again. Trust me. There's a way. I'll find it. All right, let's get into these games. Enough about me. All right, we'll start off with the Blue Jays and the Phillies, and this is a matchup of Jose Barrios and Zach Wheeler. As we look at the Jays and Phillies, the wind is blowing in about 7 to 10 miles an hour, and we also have it in the mid-60s. And I think this is kind of going to be the theme of today. A lot of places with the wind blowing in, a lot of places with weather in the 60s, which means usually for a retractable roof that they'll open it, and that's in Milwaukee's case, and we'll get to that game in a bit. But here, Zach Wheeler's just been, he's absolutely fantastic. If you watch this guy pitch, yes, he does tend to give up some long balls, but usually they're solo shots. And the other thing I'll say about him is that he mows down the other team. I have no problem betting on Zach Wheeler in any game, just because I feel like you know what you get from him most times. That being said, because you're that good, you're going to be paying a heftier price tag on sides. That's why I like to look at totals and try to limit some things here and see where things factor in. Jose Barrios, however you want to pronounce it. He was a flamethrower in Minnesota. I feel like he's kind of had to reinvent himself a little bit with Toronto, and he has been a box of chocolates. There's the big roller coaster ride with him. He is very capable of shutting down a lineup. This Phillies lineup does strike out a ton. The Blue Jays lineup, however, conversely, I think they're one of the best teams in baseball as far as striking out. So just something to keep your eye on. But I would lean under here. I think look, you got two pitchers that have the ability to go deeper in the game and to limit the opponent's offense. Wind blowing in, I say this all the time. It doesn't mean that home runs won't be hit. Obviously, the wind's not constant the entire game, but it makes it way more difficult. I had a Nerfy the other day. I think I had a Nerfy in a Zach Wheeler game where he struck out the side and gave up a solo shot to Kyle Tucker, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Same thing happened to me the other day where Nerfy, everything's going right in the first inning, solo shot. I'm like, God bless it, especially on a day where the wind's blowing in. Anyway, so yeah, I would lean under in this matchup. I think that's an interesting play as we're looking at it here. Now, we get to the Orioles and Angels. Yusei Kikuchi. And by the way, there are a couple of teams that just get it. When Yusei Kikuchi was on the Astros, they played Lisa Loeb's Yusei during every strikeout he had. Steal that and just use it for him all the time, whoever's doing it. It was one of the coolest things, just like Brian Wu getting the Ric Flair, woo, every time he strikes somebody out in Seattle. Like, I think the fans dig that stuff, man. Do more of it. Be more thought-provoking and have some fun. It's just great. But you've heard me talk about it. I'm in Baltimore. My hands, my glasses going every which way. Yusei Kikuchi being left-handed, that kind of catches my eye a little bit because the Orioles just cannot hit left-handed pitching. I've mentioned this. They make any left-handed pitcher, pick one, it doesn't matter. They make them look like Randy Johnson in his Cy Young year. That's how bad their bats have been against left-handed pitching. Doesn't mean it won't change at some point. But the fact remains, it doesn't matter. You're a soft-tossing lefty. If you're one of these guys that comes in like Tarek Skubal and you're flamethrowing, you saw what they did against him, scratched that one run against the bullpen late, but he just dominated them. And, yeah, company man, I got my Pickdawgz shirt on. So, anyway. And Cade Povich is going for the Orioles. Cade Povich has absolutely stunk up the joint at home. He has, I don't know what it is. Look at his numbers. You can go check the splits and the home numbers. He's been way better on the road. His strikeout numbers are way up. But, this is another game where I'm going to look to lean towards the under. But I've told you before, I have no problem all year long, anytime a lefty is facing the Orioles, of taking that plus money. As I've said before, I don't want to pay the minus 180 for Tarek Skubal. I want to get the plus 140 on, a Tyler Anderson, or get the plus money on a Logan Allen type when they're facing the Orioles, because I think there's inherent value in that. So I would lean under in this matchup. Next game to look at, and that's the one I was talking about, retractable roof. We got Michaelis, whatever you want to call him. I always have fun with that name. Quinn Priester, who's actually pitched well this year to a degree for the Brewers. The one thing I'll say, both of these pitchers are kind of interesting, where they get a lot of ground balls. They work out of some jams. We do have the wind blowing in mid-60s again. Again, if the roof is open, I would lean under again in this situation. So far I've been under in all these games, but that's just where I'm leaning right now because of looking at the win in the pitching matchup. I see a viable strategy of going that route. I think there's going to be a lot of interesting underplays for Father's Day today across the board. Now, let me get to the main play and the free play here. Shane Baz versus Griffin Canning. It's the Rays and Mets. Winds in at about 9 to 10 miles an hour. Again, mid-60s, kind of what we've been talking about. I'm going to give you the under here, but I am telling you, these are two pitchers I'm going to look to attack in the future. Griffin Canning's been Houdini. Both of these guys have a whip at like 1.35, and you guys have heard me talk about whip. You're putting runners on base. You're asking for trouble. You change the way the pitcher is throwing. He pitches from the stretch, and then he's got to switch things up. Now you're keeping an eye on a guy on first, second, whatever it may be. Are you good at holding runners on? Are you too worried about them and not the batter? I think all of these things play in to how difficult it makes it when you put runners on. And more importantly, you've all seen it, the walk, the bloop, then the blast, and before you know it, Dean Kramer the other day for the Orioles. He pitched great. He had one bad pitch in my mind, and that's the one he threw with two guys on, and they lost 4-1. So these are the types of things that happen. But with Shane Baz, big-time strikeout guy, he has the ability to do it. He was a big-time prospect that we really haven't seen him pan out the way that I'm sure the Rays would have hoped. But he still got time. And Griffin Canning was a guy, I used to call him Gas Canning. I would attack him every time he was pitching. But now with the Mets, he's pitched really solid. And again, he's been getting out of jams with the high whip. You look at the low ERA and you're going, okay, it's something to like. So free pick today is going to be the under in the Mets and Rays, just because I think with the pitching matchup and the way that these guys can hold players at, hitters at bay, even when they get on base, I think this is something we can look at. So just to recap, I was on unders for all those games, leaning, and then of course my free pick. So make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button. I'll try to respond, negative or positive, in the comments. I love to hear back from you guys. Make sure you're checking out everything, including the other packages that guys have going on at Pickdawgz.com. There's a lot of great handicappers. I know you guys check the leaderboards, but I think there's a lot of guys out there that are just putting out great content, and there's so much free information, let alone buying the picks. And, so far so good. My start with Pickdawgz, and I'm hoping to keep this thing rolling. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back tomorrow.